My boyfriend laughed in my face. You really thought this was real? I only wanted to make Rachel jealous. You were just helpful. Those words hit me like ice water. I walked away broken. But a few weeks later, something happened that made him wish he'd never said those words. It all started on a Tuesday, when I brought cupcakes to his office. Tyler worked at a small marketing company downtown, and I loved surprising him. His smile when he saw me made everything feel right. Emma, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, he'd say, pulling me close. After being alone for so long, hearing those words felt like sunshine after rain. I wasn't searching for love when Tyler found me. My life was simple. I went to work at the bookstore, came home to my cat, and spent weekends reading on my balcony. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Then Tyler showed up one rainy afternoon, drenched and looking for a book about starting a business. He made me laugh right away, joking about how he looked like a wet puppy. Before he left, he asked for my number. Said he needed someone smart to talk to about his dreams. Before I continue, thank you for being here. If you believe women deserve honest love and real respect, please hit that subscribe button. It's free and helps share these important stories. Shout out to everyone watching. Drop your name and country in the comments. To meet the criteria, you must be a subscriber. I'll be giving shoutouts in my next video. Tyler wanted to start his own marketing agency. He had big dreams but little money. I didn't mind. I liked how passionate he was, how his eyes lit up when he talked about branding and websites. He'd call me late at night, nervous about presentations, and I'd calm him down. You've got this, I'd tell him. And he did. Every single time. I wasn't foolish. I'd been hurt before by men who took and never gave back. But Tyler seemed different. He remembered small things, like how I loved vanilla lattes with extra foam, or how I hated driving in the rain. He'd text me every morning with this silly joke to start my day. I started believing maybe this time, love could be easy. Not perfect, just honest. Tyler needed help, and I had so much to give. Within a month, I was helping him build his business plan, reading his contracts late at night, fixing his spelling mistakes, making sure his emails sounded professional. It didn't feel like work. It felt like building something together. Like we were a team. Soon we had our own little traditions. Tuesday nights were pizza nights where we'd argue about pineapple as a topping. He said yes, I said absolutely not. Saturdays we'd go to the farmer's market, and he'd buy me fresh flowers. Sundays were lazy days where we'd watch movies, and he'd fall asleep on my shoulder. These were small moments, ordinary moments, but they felt like home. I started imagining our future. Not some fairy tale with castles and princes. Just something real. Coming home to each other after long days. Maybe a little house with a garden where we could grow tomatoes. Holidays with his family and mine. Everyone laughing around a big table. It wasn't fancy, but it felt possible. It felt right. One evening, I gave him a leather notebook with his company name stamped on the front. For all your brilliant ideas, I told him. His face went soft for just a second before he grinned. Now I have to actually have brilliant ideas, he joked, flipping through the empty pages. But I saw him pack it in his work bag the next morning. That felt like enough. Then things started changing. Small things at first. He'd check his phone constantly during dinner, smiling at messages he wouldn't show me. When I'd ask about meeting up, he'd say he was too busy, too tired, too stressed. Building a business is hard, he'd say. And I believed him. I told myself he was just overwhelmed. That once things settled down, he'd be back to normal. I made excuses for the canceled dates, the shorter phone calls, the way his hugs felt less warm. But late at night, doubt would creep in. I'd watch him scroll through his phone, that little smile on his face, and wonder who was making him so happy. It clearly wasn't me anymore. One night, lying in bed next to him, I tried to tell him how much he meant to me, how safe I felt with him, how I hadn't felt this hopeful about love in years. He smiled and kissed my forehead, but his eyes looked somewhere else, somewhere far away. And though my heart felt heavy, I pushed the feeling down. I convinced myself I was overthinking. I didn't know then that I was right to worry. that my gut was trying to warn me about something I wasn't ready to see. But in that moment, in that chapter of my life, I still believed in us. The warning came on an ordinary Wednesday. I'd stopped by his apartment to drop off dinner because he said he'd be working late. I used the spare key he'd given me months ago. The apartment was quiet when I walked in, containers of Thai food in my hands. The smell of curry filled the small space as I set everything on his kitchen counter. Tyler wasn't home yet, so I decided to tidy up a bit. His place was always messy, papers everywhere, empty coffee cups on every surface. As I picked up mugs from his desk, his laptop screen lit up. I wasn't trying to snoop. I really wasn't. But a message popped up right there on the screen, big and bold. From someone named Rachel. Miss you. When are you finally going to ditch the rebound? My stomach dropped. Rebound. The word echoed in my head. I stood frozen, mug still in my hand, reading and rereading those words. Another message came through. You know I'm the one you really want. Stop playing games. My hands started shaking. I set the mug down carefully, afraid I might drop it. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. I wanted to look away, to close the laptop and pretend I hadn't seen anything. But I couldn't move. Another message. Emma seems sweet, but she's not me. You said so yourself. That's when I heard the key in the lock. Tyler walked in, whistling, looking relaxed. When he saw me standing there, his face changed. Hey, didn't know you were here. His eyes flicked to the laptop screen. I watched the color drain from his face. Who's Rachel? My voice came out quieter than I expected. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. We used to date. It's nothing. Doesn't look like nothing. I turned the laptop toward him. He could see the messages now, bright on the screen. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Tyler sighed, running his hand through his hair. Okay. Fine. Rachel and we have history. She broke up with me last year, and I was a mess. When I met you, I was still getting over her. My throat felt tight. So what am I, Tyler? What are we? He wouldn't look at me. That told me everything. You helped me, he said quietly. You were there when I needed someone. And maybe I thought if Rachel saw me with someone good, someone who cared about me, she'd realize what she lost. The words hung in the air like poison. So I was just a tool? Something to make her jealous. He finally looked up, and there was no apology in his eyes. Just guilt that he got caught. It wasn't supposed to go this long. I thought she'd come back sooner. My legs felt weak. I grabbed the edge of the desk to steady myself. All those months, all those moments I thought were real. The flowers, the jokes, the plans we made. None of it was for me. It was all for her. Emma, listen, he started. No. My voice was stronger now. I'm done listening. I grabbed my bag from the couch and headed for the door. Emma, wait. You're overreacting. I stopped with my hand on the doorknob and turned back. Overreacting? You used me. For months. You let me fall for you, help you, believe in us, all while you were just waiting for someone else. He had the nerve to look annoyed. You knew I had baggage. Everyone has an ex. Baggage is one thing, Tyler. Using someone as bait is something else entirely. I walked out and slammed the door behind me. In the hallway, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely press the elevator button. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't get enough air. When the elevator doors closed, I finally let myself cry. But underneath the tears, something else was growing. Not just sadness. Anger. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and a clear mind. I wasn't going to fall apart over a man who never saw my worth. Instead, I got ready for work, made myself a strong coffee, and blocked Tyler's number. No explanations. No second chances. Just silence. That silence would become my greatest weapon. Within days, Tyler started his damage control. I heard about it from my friend Jessica, who worked at the coffee shop near his office. Tyler's been telling everyone you went crazy on him, she said, looking uncomfortable. Says you got obsessed and couldn't handle that he needed space. My blood boiled. Of course, he'd twist the story, make himself the victim. I checked social media, and there it was. A vague post from him. Sometimes the people you trust most show their true colors. Grateful to be free from toxic energy. The comments were full of support. Friends telling him he deserved better. People I'd met through him. People I'd been kind to, all believing his lies. My phone buzzed with messages from mutual friends. What happened? Are you okay? Tyler said things got weird. I wanted to scream the truth. To tell everyone exactly what he did. But I didn't. Because people who lie eventually tangle themselves up in their own stories. I just had to wait. And I was good at waiting. Instead of defending myself, I went silent. Completely silent. No posts, no explanations, no drama. Just quiet. And that quiet made people curious. Within a week, the question started. Jessica called me. Tyler's story doesn't make sense. He said you showed up at his place unannounced and lost it when he asked for space. But didn't he give you a key? He did, I said simply. She was quiet for a moment. So, why would he be upset you used it? Good question. I left it at that. Let her think. Let everyone think. Another friend, Marcus, texted me. Hey, saw Tyler's post. That doesn't sound like you at all. What really happened? I didn't spill everything. I just said, sometimes people create stories to hide their own mistakes. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Short. Simple. Honest enough to plant doubt. And the doubt grew. Because Tyler kept talking. He couldn't help himself. He needed to be the victim so badly that he kept adding details to his story. First I was obsessed. Then I was controlling. Then I was jealous of his success. Each version was slightly different and people noticed. Wait, last week you said she freaked out about you working late. Now you're saying she didn't support your business. Someone commented on his post. Tyler deleted the comment. But screenshots live forever. My friend Hannah sent me one. He's changing his story, she wrote. What's really going on? I didn't need to answer. The truth was doing the work for me. Meanwhile, I focused on myself. I started going to the gym in the mornings, not to look different, but to feel stronger. I rearranged my apartment, getting rid of anything that reminded me of Tyler. I picked up hobbies I dropped while I was busy helping him. Painting, reading in the park, volunteering at the animal shelter on weekends. My life got fuller without him in it. Lighter. And people noticed that too. When Tyler's friends saw me out looking happy, healthy, unbothered, it didn't match the story he'd told them. She doesn't look like someone who had a breakdown, I heard one of them mutter at the grocery store. I just smiled and kept shopping. But the real karma hadn't even started yet. That came from a source I never expected. Rachel. The woman he'd been chasing this whole time. The reason I was even in this mess. One evening, about 3 weeks after I'd walked out, I was at a bookstore cafe when I overheard a conversation at the next table. Two women, both looking at a phone screen. Can you believe he's back with her already? Who? Tyler. My friend works with him. Apparently, he's been texting his ex nonstop since he and that other girl broke up. Wow. That was fast. My hand tightened around my coffee cup. So he'd gotten what he wanted. Rachel had taken him back. Part of me wanted to feel hurt. But mostly I felt nothing. Let him have her. They deserved each other. What I didn't know was that Rachel wasn't done with him. Not even close. A week later, Jessica called me, practically yelling into the phone. Emma, you need to see this. See what? Rachel posted something. About Tyler. It's everywhere. I opened Instagram with shaking hands. And there it was. A long post from Rachel's account. A message to the girl my ex used to make me jealous. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was playing games with you. He told me he was single, that he'd moved on from me completely. When I found out he'd been dating you just to get my attention, I was disgusted. Using someone like that is cruel. You deserved better. We both did. For the record, Tyler and I are not back together. The second I learned what he did to you, I blocked him everywhere. No man who treats women like pawns deserves anyone's time. To Emma, if you're reading this, I hope you're doing okay. You seemed really sweet. My hands were shaking. I read it 3 times. Rachel had exposed him.
Publicly. Completely.
The comments were pouring in. Hundreds of them. What a manipulative jerk. Poor Emma. She dodged a bullet. Tyler really thought this would work? I scrolled down and saw Tyler's name tagged in dozens of comments. People were flooding his page, calling him out. His pristine image, the victim story he'd crafted so carefully, it all came crashing down in minutes. And the best part? He couldn't deny it, because Rachel had screenshots. Messages where he'd told her about his plan to win her back, where he'd called me convenient and easy to manage, where he'd laughed about how I believed everything he said. Every cruel word was there, laid out for everyone to see. My phone exploded with messages. Emma, I'm so sorry I believed him. You didn't deserve that. Are you okay? Even people who'd ignored me after Tyler's posts reached out to apologize. But I wasn't thinking about them. I was thinking about Tyler, about how his world had just imploded. That night, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw him standing there. Tyler. He looked terrible. Hair messy, eyes red, clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them. I almost didn't open the door. But I wanted to hear what he'd say. I wanted to see him try to explain this. I opened the door, but didn't invite him in. Emma, please. I can explain. Explain what? The screenshots Rachel posted? You called me easy to manage, Tyler. He flinched. I was trying to impress her. I didn't mean it. You meant every word. His shoulders slumped. Everyone hates me now. My friends won't talk to me. People at work think I'm disgusting. Rachel won't even answer my calls. Good. The word came out cold and clear. He looked up at me, shocked. Good? Emma, my life is falling apart. You mean the way you tried to make mine fall apart with your lies? The way you used me for months and then painted me as crazy when I found out. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did. And now you're facing the truth of what you did. That's not my problem anymore. He tried to reach for my hand. I stepped back. Please, Emma. I need you. You always helped me. You always understood. And that's when I saw it clearly. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He was sorry he got caught. He wasn't here to apologize for using me. He was here because his safety net was gone, and he was falling. You don't need me, Tyler. You need to learn how to be a decent human being. And that's something I can't help you with. I closed the door in his face. This time, I locked it. From the other side, I heard him call my name a few more times. Then footsteps. Then silence. I leaned against the door and took a deep breath. My hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing. I felt calm, strong, free. The next morning, I woke up to another message from Jessica. Girl, Tyler tried to post an apology last night and people tore him apart in the comments. He deleted it after an hour. I smiled. Good. Let him feel what it's like when no one believes you. When everyone thinks you're the villain. That's exactly what he did to me. But unlike him, I had the truth on my side. Over the next few weeks, I watched from a distance as Tyler's life continued to unravel. He lost clients who didn't want to work with someone morally questionable. His business partner quit, saying she couldn't be associated with that kind of person. Even his family was disappointed. His sister unfollowed him on social media. Meanwhile, my life bloomed. I got a promotion at the bookstore. Started dating again, casually with no pressure. Spent more time with friends who actually valued me. Traveled to places I'd always wanted to see but had put off because Tyler said he was too busy. And every good thing that happened, I celebrated quietly. Not to show off. Just to remind myself that I was more than someone's backup plan. I was whole all by myself. One Saturday afternoon, I was at the farmer's market buying flowers for my apartment when I saw him. Tyler. Standing by the vegetable stand, looking lost and small. He saw me too. For a moment, we just stared at each other across the crowd. Then he started walking toward me. My first instinct was to leave. But I stood my ground. Emma, he said when he reached me. Hi. Hi, Tyler. We stood there awkwardly. He looked at the flowers in my hand. You always loved those. I still do. He swallowed hard. I wanted to say,
I'm sorry. Really sorry.
for everything. I looked at him, really looked at him, and I realized I didn't feel angry anymore. I didn't feel hurt. I just felt done. Thank you for saying that, I said calmly. But I don't need your apology to move on. I already have. His face crumpled a little. Do you think maybe someday we could try again? Start over. I almost laughed.
No, Tyler.
What you did showed me exactly who you are. And I deserve someone who sees my value from the start, not someone who has to lose everything to realize what they had. I've changed. Maybe. But I have too. And the person I am now knows better than to go back to someone who hurt me on purpose. I adjusted the flowers in my arms and started to walk away. He called after me. Emma, wait. Please. I don't know what to do without you. I turned back one last time. Figure it out. Just like I did. And I walked away. This time for good. That evening, I put my new flowers in a vase on my kitchen table and sat down with a cup of tea. My phone buzzed. A message from Rachel. Hey Emma. I know this is random, but I wanted to check in. How are you doing? I smiled and typed back. I'm doing really well, actually. Thank you for what you did. For telling the truth. You deserve to know. And he deserved to be exposed. Are you angry at me? For being the reason he used you? I thought about it.
No.
You didn't know. He made the choice to lie to both of us. Thank you for understanding. For what it's worth, you seem like a genuinely good person. Too good for him. So are you. Take care of yourself, Rachel. You too, Emma. I set my phone down and looked around my apartment. It was small but cozy. The walls were covered with photos of friends and places I loved. Books stacked neatly on shelves. Plants growing in the window. My cat curled up on the couch. It was mine. All of it. Built by me, for me. And no one could take that away. That night, I slept better than I had in months. No nightmares. No anxiety. Just deep, peaceful rest. In the weeks that followed, Tyler tried a few more times to reach out. Through friends. Through random texts from new numbers. Even a handwritten letter slipped under my door. But I never responded. Because the truth was, I didn't owe him anything. Not closure. Not forgiveness. Not another chance. He'd used up all his chances when he decided I was worth less than his pride. And slowly, he stopped trying. He disappeared from my world completely. I heard through the grapevine that he'd moved to another city. Started over somewhere new where people didn't know his story. Good for him, I guess.
I hope he learned something.
But honestly, I stopped caring. Because my life was too full of good things to waste time thinking about someone who didn't value me. I started writing again, something I'd loved as a kid, but gave up. I wrote about everything I'd been through, turning pain into stories that might help someone else. I made new friends who celebrated my wins instead of using me for theirs. And I learned to trust myself again. To listen when my gut said something was wrong. To never ignore red flags just because I wanted love. 1 year later, I ran into Jessica at a coffee shop. She hugged me tight. Emma, you look amazing. Like, genuinely happy. I'm so glad. What Tyler did was horrible. But watching you come out of it stronger? That was inspiring. I smiled. I didn't do it to inspire anyone. I just did it to survive. And then to thrive. Well, you're thriving. Have you heard about Tyler lately?
No.
Why? She lowered her voice. He tried to reach out to Rachel again. She got a restraining order. My eyes widened. Seriously?
Yeah.
Apparently, he wouldn't take no for an answer. Got obsessive. She had to get the law involved. I shook my head. Wow. Karma, right? I guess. But honestly, I stopped waiting for karma a long time ago. I just focused on building a life I love. That was the best revenge. Jessica raised her coffee cup. To you, Emma. For knowing your worth. I clinked my cup against hers. To all of us who know our worth. As I walked home that afternoon, I thought about everything that had happened. The hurt, the lies, the betrayal. And then the healing, the growth, the peace. If someone had told me a year ago that I'd be grateful for what Tyler did, I wouldn't have believed them. But in a strange way, I was. Because he showed me what I wouldn't tolerate. He taught me that my kindness was valuable and should never be wasted on people who don't appreciate it. He proved that I could survive heartbreak and come out stronger on the other side. Not because I'm special or superhuman, just because I refused to let his lies define me. I chose to rebuild,
To focus on me.
to stop carrying the weight of someone else's mistakes. And that choice changed everything. So to anyone watching this who's been through something similar, who's been used or lied to or made to feel small, I want you to know something.
You are not what happened to you.
You are not the person who hurt you. You are not the lies they told about you. You are the strength you find when everything falls apart. You are the courage it takes to walk away. You are the grace you show yourself when you choose healing over revenge. And you are worth so much more than being someone's backup plan. I kept moving forward. Not because I was trying to prove anything to Tyler or Rachel or anyone else, but because I owed it to myself. I enrolled in a creative writing class at the community college. Something I'd always wanted to do, but never had time for when I was busy managing Tyler's life. The first night, our teacher asked us to write about a moment that changed us. I wrote about the night I heard him on that call. About standing at his laptop, seeing those messages. About the exact moment I realized I'd been living a lie. When I read it out loud in class, the room was silent. Then, everyone started clapping. A woman in the back row came up to me afterward, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for sharing that. I needed to hear it. My boyfriend, I think he might be doing something similar." I hugged her. "Trust your gut. It's always right." She nodded and walked away. And I realized something powerful. My story wasn't just mine anymore. It belonged to every woman who'd been used. Every person who'd been made to feel less than. Every heart that chose to heal instead of harden. That's when I started my blog. Nothing fancy, just honest words about what I'd been through. I called it After the Backup Plan. I wrote about the warning signs I ignored, the excuses I made, the moment everything shattered. But I also wrote about the rebuilding, the small victories. The morning I woke up and realized I hadn't thought about Tyler in days. Within weeks, women started reaching out, sharing their own stories, thanking me for giving them permission to walk away from situations that weren't serving them. One message stuck with me. "I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years. He tells everyone I'm his girlfriend, but I just found out he's still in love with someone else. Your story gave me the courage to leave. Thank you." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I wrote back. "You're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to be free." That exchange reminded me why I went through what I did. Not so I could stay bitter, but so I could turn pain into purpose. Meanwhile, Tyler's attempts to contact me had stopped completely. I'd see his name pop up occasionally in mutual friends' stories, always in the background, never the center of attention. He looked older, tired, like the weight of what he'd done finally caught up to him. Part of me wondered if he ever truly reflected on his actions, if he understood the damage he caused. But mostly, I didn't think about him at all. My life was too full to make room for ghosts. I'd started seeing someone new.
Mark.
We met at the animal shelter where I volunteered. He was there adopting a dog, a scruffy rescue with one ear that flopped sideways. "Think he'll like me?" Mark had asked nervously. "Dogs are good judges of character," I'd said with a smile. The dog walked right up to him and sat on his feet. "Guess that's my answer," Mark laughed. We started talking. Then coffee. Then dinner. Then more. But this time I was careful. I watched for red flags. I asked questions. I didn't rush. And Mark? He was patient. He understood when I said I needed to take things slow. He never pushed. Never pressured. Never made me feel like I owed him anything. "I like you, Emma," he told me one evening as we walked through the park. "But I can wait. Good things are worth waiting for." That's when I knew he was different. Not because he said the right words, but because his actions matched them. He showed up when he said he would.
He listened when I talked.
He celebrated my wins without trying to take credit. And when I told him about Tyler, about everything that happened, he didn't get angry or try to fix me. He just held my hand and said, "I'm glad you walked away. You deserve someone who sees you from day one." 6 months into our relationship, we were having dinner at my apartment when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I opened it. "Emma, it's Tyler. I know you blocked me. I just wanted to say, I see now what I lost. You were the real thing, and I was too stupid to see it. I hope you're happy." Mark noticed my expression. "Everything okay?" I showed him the message. He read it, then looked at me. "What do you want to do?" "Nothing," I said, deleting it. "There's nothing left to say." "Good." He squeezed my hand. "He doesn't get any more of your energy." And that was that. No drama. No response. Just a quiet acknowledgement that some chapters close completely. That evening, as Mark helped me wash dishes, I realized something. This was what real love looked like. Simple. Steady. Safe. No games. No tests. No using someone as a pawn to win someone else. Just two people choosing each other every single day. "What are you smiling about?" Mark asked, catching my expression. "Nothing," I said. "Just happy." "Me too." Later that night, after Mark went home, I sat on my balcony with tea and looked at the stars. I thought about the girl I was a year ago, the one who believed Tyler's lies, who made excuses for his behavior, who thought love meant sacrificing yourself for someone else's dreams. That girl was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone who knew that love doesn't ask you to shrink. Real love makes space for you to grow. I'd learned that the hard way, but I'd learned it, and I'd never forget it. The next morning, I got a message from Rachel. We'd stayed in touch occasionally, supporting each other from a distance. "Hey Emma, wanted to share something with you. I'm dating someone new. Someone who actually respects me. Thought you'd want to know there's life after Tyler." I smiled and wrote back. "There is. So much life. I'm happy for you, Rachel. You too. I saw your blog. It's beautiful. You're helping so many people. Just trying to turn pain into something useful. You're doing more than that. You're giving people hope." That conversation stayed with me all day, because it reminded me that healing isn't just personal. When you heal, you create a roadmap for others who are lost in the same dark woods you escaped from. My blog continued to grow. Women from all over started reading and sharing their stories. Some were worse than mine. Some were similar. All of them mattered. I created a small online community where we could support each other, share resources, celebrate wins, remind each other that we deserved better. One woman wrote, "I left my husband after reading your story. 20 years of him making me feel invisible. Your words gave me courage." 20 years. My heart broke for her, but also celebrated her strength. Another wrote, "I'm only 19 and I thought I had to accept being treated like a secret. Your blog showed me I don't. Thank you." These messages became my fuel. Every time I doubted whether sharing my story was worth it, someone would reach out and remind me why it mattered. Because silence protects abusers, but truth sets victims free. And I was done being silent. Meanwhile, Tyler's life continued its downward spiral. I didn't seek out the information, but mutual friends would mention things. How he'd tried starting over in a new city, but his reputation followed him online. How potential clients would Google his name and find Rachel's post, then decide to work with someone else. How he'd had to take a regular job, giving up his dream of running his own company. I didn't feel joy hearing these things, but I didn't feel pity either. He'd made choices. Choices that hurt people. And now he was living with the consequences. That's just how life works. Around this time, I got invited to speak at a local women's group about healing from toxic relationships. I was nervous. Speaking in front of crowds wasn't my thing. But I said yes anyway. The night of the event, I stood in front of 40 women and told my story. Not for sympathy, but to show them what survival looked like. When I finished, the room erupted in applause. Women came up to me afterward, hugging me, thanking me, sharing their own experiences. One older woman, probably in her 60s, grabbed my hands. I stayed with a man for 30 years who treated me like you were treated. I wish I'd had your courage when I was young. Her words made my eyes water. It's never too late, I told her. She smiled sadly. Maybe not, but I'm grateful women like you are speaking up now. That night reminded me why healing publicly matters. Because when we hide our pain, we make others feel alone in theirs. But when we share our stories, we create bridges. We show others they're not crazy. They're not overreacting. They're not the problem. The problem is people who use and manipulate. And those people don't deserve our silence. A few months later, I was at the bookstore when a young woman approached me. She looked nervous, clutching a book to her chest. Are you Emma? The one who writes the blog? I nodded. I am. I just wanted to say thank you. My boyfriend was doing exactly what Tyler did to you, using me to make his ex jealous. I read your story, and it gave me the strength to leave. My throat tightened. How are you doing now? Better. It hurts, but I know I made the right choice. You did, and it will keep getting better. She hugged me quickly, then hurried away. I stood there for a moment, holding back tears, because that's what this was all about. Not revenge, not bitterness, but helping others find their way out of the darkness. That same week, Mark asked me to move in with him. We were sitting on his couch, his dog asleep between us. No pressure, he said quickly. But I love having you here, and I think we're ready. I looked around his apartment. Our apartment really, since I'd been spending most nights there anyway. My books mixed with his. My plants on his windowsill. My toothbrush in his bathroom. Yes, I said. Let's do it. His face lit up. Yeah. We moved in together the following month, and it felt nothing like it had with Tyler. There was no anxiety, no walking on eggshells, no wondering if I was enough. Just partnership.
Equality.
Love that felt safe. One evening, while we were unpacking boxes, Mark found the leather notebook I'd given Tyler. The one I'd taken back when I left. What's this? He asked. I explained the whole story. How I'd bought it for Tyler. How it had represented hope for his future. How I'd taken it back because that hope was misplaced. What are you going to do with it? Mark asked. I thought for a moment. I think I'll use it myself. Fill it with my own dreams instead of someone else's. I love that idea. So that's what I did. That notebook became my journal. I wrote about my goals, my fears, my growth. And every time I opened it, I was reminded that I'd taken back my power. I'd reclaimed my story. Time kept moving.
Seasons changed.
I celebrated my first year of writing the blog. Then my second. The community grew to over 10,000 women. We supported each other through breakups, divorces, new relationships, career changes. We celebrated wins and held space for losses. And through it all, I kept healing. Layer by layer. Day by day. One afternoon, I was grocery shopping when I saw him. Tyler. It had been almost 2 years since I'd last seen him at the farmer's market. He looked different. Older.
Defeated.
He was alone, pushing a cart slowly through the aisles. When he saw me, he froze. I could have turned away. Could have pretended I didn't see him. But I didn't. I walked over. Tyler. Emma. His voice cracked on my name. We stood there in the cereal aisle, two people who used to know each other. How are you? He asked quietly. I'm really good. You? Managing. He looked down at his cart. Just basics. Bread, eggs, frozen dinners. The life of someone existing, not living. I saw your blog, he said suddenly. I read everything. I didn't know what to say to that. I'm sorry, Emma. I know I've said it before, but I mean it. I was horrible to you. You deserved so much better. I know I did. He winced. You're doing amazing things. Helping so many people. I'm proud of you. I'm not doing it for your approval. I know. I wanted you to know that I see now what I lost. And I'll regret it for the rest of my life. I looked at him. Really looked. And I saw a broken man. Someone who destroyed the good things in his life chasing something that was never real. I could have been cruel. Could have twisted the knife. But I didn't want to carry that energy anymore. I hope you've learned from this, Tyler. I hope you treat the next person better. There is no next person. Nobody wants me after everything. Then maybe this is your time to work on yourself. Figure out why you did what you did. Become someone better. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I'm trying. Good luck with that. I started to walk away, then turn back. And Tyler, delete my blog from your reading list. That space is for people healing, not for people who caused the harm. His face crumpled, but he nodded. I walked away without looking back. When I got to my car, I sat for a moment processing. I didn't feel angry, didn't feel triumphant, just felt complete. Like that chapter had finally, truly ended. That evening, I told Mark about running into Tyler. How do you feel? He asked. Grateful, I said honestly. Grateful I'm here instead of still there. He kissed my forehead. Me too. A few months later, Mark and I got engaged. Nothing fancy, just him asking me on our balcony while we watched the sunset. Will you marry me? He'd asked, holding a simple ring. Yes, I'd said without hesitation. Because this was what love was supposed to feel like.
Easy.
Natural.
Right.
We planned a small wedding. Just close friends and family. The day was perfect. Sunny and warm, everyone smiling. As I walked down the aisle, I thought about the girl I used to be. The one who thought she needed to earn love by being useful. Who believed that if she just tried hard enough, gave enough, she could make someone love her properly. That girl was gone. In her place was a woman who knew her worth. Who understood that real love doesn't require you to shrink or sacrifice or prove yourself. Real love sees you and chooses you. Every single day. After the wedding, my blog post went viral. I wrote about my journey from Tyler to Mark. From manipulation to real partnership. From doubt to certainty. The post was shared thousands of times. Women commented, sharing their own stories of leaving toxic relationships and finding real love. Of learning their worth and refusing to settle. One comment read, "This gave me hope that good men exist. That I'm not asking for too much when I want honesty and respect." Another said, "I'm printing this out and putting it on my wall as a reminder." These messages filled my heart. Because that's what I wanted.
To give people hope.
To show them that happy endings exist, but first you have to be brave enough to leave the wrong story. Years passed. Mark and I built a beautiful life together. We bought a small house with a garden where we grew tomatoes and herbs. We adopted 2 more rescue dogs. We traveled to places we'd both dreamed of seeing. And through it all, I kept writing.
Kept sharing.
Kept helping women find their strength. My blog turned into a book. Then speaking engagements. Then a podcast. My story of survival became a platform for change. For education. For empowerment. And Tyler? I heard he eventually moved away completely. Started therapy. Tried to become better. I don't know if he succeeded. And honestly, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Because my story isn't about him. It never was. It's about me. About the moment I chose myself. About the strength I found when everything fell apart. About the life I built from the ashes of betrayal. That's the real karma. Not him suffering, but me thriving. Not him losing, but me winning. Not revenge, but freedom. So to everyone watching this, everyone who's been used, lied to, manipulated, or made to feel small, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not what they made you believe you were. You are not too much or not enough. You are not broken or damaged or unlovable. You are strong. You are worthy. You are deserving of real, honest, respectful love. And if you're not getting that, you have every right to walk away. To choose yourself. To build a life that honors who you are. Because the best revenge isn't making them hurt. It's making yourself whole. That's the story of how my boyfriend used me to make another woman jealous, and how karma hit him harder than I ever could. But more importantly, it's the story of how I found myself in the wreckage. And that was worth everything. If this story resonated with you, if it gave you courage or hope or validation, please hit that subscribe button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, You deserve better. Always. Thank you for listening. This is Emma, reminding you that your worth is not negotiable, and neither is your peace.